Welcome back. In this video, I'm going to continue from where I stopped the last time, and I will show you a few things that we've done and we've seen, and the things that we have to now look at and how to do. But first, we're going to look at an example, and then we continue and make sure that this list is complete. Creating a class with attributes and methods. We've done that, so I put a yes here. And again, I'm going to show you that class. It was the book class. And here are attributes of the book class. And here are methods of the book class. There's a get title method that has different access modifiers. And there is this one that says add 10 to year method that has the static modifier, and that we've done. So a book class, we've done that. Yes, the student class, I'm going to give you that as an exercise, but we're going to come back to that. Creating an object. An object is an instance of a class, and I have it as yes. Why? Because we have created an object. So let's look at it again. Go to the main class. There were times that I said something like book, textbook equals new book. So this textbook in this context becomes an object because it's an instance of a class, because it's a type class. All right, remember when we're doing other variables, we say int x, and x is a variable of the type int. The same way we are saying textbook is just a variable. The type is the class, or is an object of this class type, which is book. All right, so we've seen how to do that. We've created a book, and we've created a book in several places. The same way you can create any object, any class you want, and create an instance of that class, which is an object. All right. I know this code looks very different from what we saw in the last video, but I will take my time to explain it. Manipulating an object, accessing attributes of classes. Yes, we have done that. So how did we do that? I'm going to show you. In this method where we display a book, we can't just display a book just like that, because a book is an object of the class type book, and it has attributes such as title and everything, and we need to display it. So what we did is to access the attributes of that book. And again, these items is manipulating an object, accessing the attributes of a class. So these are attributes: title, ISBN, year published. And as you can see, we're able to access those by even adding 10 to that one of the attributes. So we're able to manipulate the attributes. This is the attribute, we can attend to it. You can also use the attributes in any of the computations that you are supposed to do. As you're going to see in the tutorials I'm going to give to you, you'll find yourself manipulating that even more. So that said, array of objects, we are not there yet, but I'll show you. Passing an object to a method. Yes, I said we've done that. And I'm going to show you, here is a method called display book. And here is an object coming inside that method. So as opposed to a primitive data type like integer, a double, and all of that, this is an actual object coming inside. So we have done that. And let me see if we had another example. Here's another example. Add 10 to year is a method, and it takes an object, a book. The name doesn't always have to be a book. You can name it anything you want. Just be careful that the name has to not be consistent with the programming that you do afterwards. Changing an attribute of an object. Yes, we've done that. So I'm going to show you, again, the attribute of an object, year published, was changed to add 10 to it, and to stored in a new object that was then returned after this method. So this method changes the attribute that is called year of the particular object called a book, and it changes it by adding 10 to it. All right. So that has been done. And then inheritance and classes. So these are the new spaces we are going to look at. I'm going to make this new. And I think this is an assignment. All right. So in the next video, I'm going to discuss the new ones, which is this and this. However, for now, I made some modifications to our code to show you what is possible with even arrays. So remember the code we wrote the last time? We still have our code here, but let's just say that we want in our class, all right, the authors is a list of strings, authors. All right. and we want to read in the authors from the keyboard. So I'm trying to show you variability here. That sometimes you may not find yourself creating a new book and assigning the attributes of that book manually, like we've done. You see, we've assigned manually here. You may want the user to give you the attributes of this book. And if the user is going to do that, then you have to use read statements to read in the attributes and then store it like this. Refer to the object dot attribute. All right. And if you want to call a method, you can still refer to the object, the class dot method, and give it the object so that the method can act on this object within this class. All right. Those are the terms. I promised you the last time we're going to be doing more terms as we go on. So imagine that I want to read in 3 authors for a book. Then within this main method, I could have a local variable called author names. And again, you're used to this line. It's an array list of strings. And the size of the array is 3 because I assume I'm going to have 3 authors. And I use a loop to read in 3 authors every time. So enter author 1, enter author 2, enter author 3. However, because my array is 0 indexed, it's reading into it by I minus 1. Of course, you know what I mean, because it's 0 to 2 now. We have 3. And it reads in something. And after that is done, the variable author names contains the names of 3 authors. Now, remember that we were able to create a new book and change these attributes of that new book, but we were never able to set the name of the authors because this parameter, as you can see if I hover the mouse on it, is an attribute that is an array list. It's not an array list, sorry. It's an array, because an array and array list are 2 different things in C#, as you would see in the subsequent videos. So this line you have already seen, this is the new line now. After I've read in the author names, I'm passing the author names as to this new textbook as the author's attribute. So this author's attributes can be seen in the book class as an array list already. So data types have to talk to one another. For example, if I choose to remove this as an array list and I go here, I'm going to find an error here. Why? This is an array. All right, can you see? And this now is no longer an array. So an array is what you can equate to an array, and as you might have guessed. So I'm going to come back here and I make this an array of authors. All right. Then coming back here, now the errors have disappeared, meaning that a textbook is an object from class book, and the authors of this object should now be the authors' names that I've read in. So I can display the book at this level. All right. Remember the display book method? It works. I can also then add 10 years to it. Then I can display the book again. However, now I need to modify my display book so that I can see my authors at the same time. So because of that, I've added additional lines to our display method. And our display method now displays authors. So after displaying book title, ISBN, year published, then it displays authors. And as you might have guessed, I want the authors to appear on the same line. So I put authors here and I use to write so that it doesn't move to the next line. Then I go for each string. This is just a variable name, author, in a book, which is the parameter taken by this method, dot authors. That's an attribute of this object. So it's going to give me the list of authors, and because it's an array of strings, so I'm going to iterate to, and each time I will display one author with a semicolon next to it. And I'm using write still. Why? Because I don't want it to go to the next line. And when this O code fragment is done, just like these guys are displayed, I'm going to also have my authors' names displayed on one line. Job is done. These lines you've already seen before. So let's see how this works in practice. It's coming up shortly. There you go. So it's asking me for the author names because we need to read in the authors. The authors are read into an array. The array is given to the attribute of our object. There is an array attribute of authors, and you know how the whole story goes. So first, I would enter the name Clarissa Magunde. I'm sure. I hope I got that right. I will enter another name, Kyle of, I think of is that. And the third name, Jabulani Luvaba. Alright. And now you can see that writing fantastic programs. So this is displaying happening. We display the book first before adding 10 to the years. 1999, as you can see, Clarissa Magunde is appearing, Kyle is appearing, Jabu is appearing, and the authors still appear on this one also. However, the year has now changed to 2009. So you've seen how we can modify methods. Write methods to modify objects, because this is a whole one object. These are just attributes of the objects, and you can write methods to modify them, and that you have seen. In the next video, I would show you how you can then have an array of objects and go through each of the array of objects and do stuff inside. Please, I want you to go ahead now and create a student class. Give it any attributes you want, write any methods you want, and just play around with it. All right, because that's what this week is going to be about. Then I'm also going to show you how to inherit a class. Inheritance, that will come in the next videos. So see you on the other side. Boom.